Welcome back to Stadium Unplugged with former Swiss defender Stephane Henchoz, who played more than 200 games over 6 seasons for Liverpool. Now, let's talk about moving to the UK from England. It must have been, from Switzerland. It must have been a big change for you.
Yeah, it was actually, my first move to Germany, which in a way it's very similar to Switzerland in terms of lifestyle and things like that. And then when you move to UK, it is different. It's an island, and the people you can feel they are living on an island.
All right.
So everything, the lifestyle was different. Okay. Obviously, the food's very different. The drinking culture, that was something, I wasn't used at all. And that days when I moved back in '97, it was even in football, you still had this culture which these days has disappeared really.
It's funny, you always mention this, it's just an island and the people are all different. Now, how different are continental players to the British-born players in your eyes?
I think the education is different. Okay. In England, you've got a lot of kids who stop school when they're 15, and they just after do some little jobs, and they do it all their life, but they just reproduce what they've seen from the parents and grandparents really. And after the work, they just go to the pub and they have a few pints, and that's it. As continental players, we just when you finish school, the compulsory school, you just carry on with your study, and you try to get a job, if possible, obviously a good job, and then maybe you have I would say, a better education.
Okay. Now, of course, you mentioned earlier as a child, you heard everything about Liverpool and Merseyside and all that, and then you finally got to move there. How different was it from what you thought it was going to be?
I think, like everything in life, you cannot really realize how it is before experiencing it yourself. You can only guess. And when you play for a club like Liverpool, you don't realize how big it is before you actually play in front of the Kop, play at Anfield. And then, living in the city, you realize how big the club is and how important it is for the people.
Let's talk about that, playing at the Kop, at Anfield. What was that like for you? It must have been amazing. The fans of Liverpool, they're a whole different breed onto themselves, aren't they?
To be honest, that's the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
And now I retired, I missed that, If I could go back in time and play again in front of the Kop, when you go out of the tunnel and you hear 40,000 supporters singing "You Never Walk Alone," that's a feeling you will never experience again in your life.
Okay, let's talk about, the friends that you made at Liverpool. You must have been very close to quite a few players. Can you name them?
I think, I had a good relationship with everybody, with a good team understanding, and, it was just great. After you have always, players, you will be closer. Yeah. And for me, that was maybe Sami Hyypiä, with a great partnership. Vladimir Smith as well, Dietmar Hamann. That was the player I was hanging around the most.
And you could actually speak in German to Dietmar Hamann.
Exactly, that wasn't a problem for me. And then Markus Babbel as well came from Bayern Munich, both were speaking German. So it's always the same, when you get to a place and you get to meet the people who speak the same language, or they can speak the same, you will always tend, to be with these people.
Okay. Speak about how you fell out with Coach Rafa Benitez, and I think we've spoken about how different coaches mean different things to players, and there's always going to be one time where you're really good with one coach, and then another time where you're not going to be so good. What was that like relationship with
I think obviously he has his ID, and right from the start, I had the feeling I wasn't planned, So I had to, maybe the reaction I had wasn't the right one. I should have maybe, shown, no, I want to stay at the club. I want to fight for my place. And I just didn't do it the way I should have done. Okay. And then from that point, I knew that I had to move on if I wanted to play first team football every weekend.
Okay. But did you have any falling out with him, or is it just an understanding the way you said?
No, not really falling out, Yeah. It's just like, I wasn't playing every weekend as I would have want. I had only 1 year left on my contract, and I wanted to play. So at the end of the day, in January, you know, when there was the transfer window, I just decided to leave.
Okay. What's your best memory of playing for Liverpool? Something that, you know, even till today, you think?
Many memories, you know, like I said, you know, the experience, the feeling in general, the love for the people, the love for the city. I spent 9 years living here, you know, in Liverpool, really. And if I have to have one memory, that would be the FA Cup final in 2001, when when I left the trophy at Cardiff Millennium Stadium.
Okay. You also have talked about, you know, one of the lowest points with Liverpool, and you know, I'm just going to ask you to repeat that. You know, I'm just going to set the scene for you. You were in the hotel room watching this game, and you know, it was one of the saddest moments for you. Happy for your team, but sad for yourself. Yeah,
that's when I joined Celtic. You know, nobody would have thought Liverpool would win the Champions League in the dramatic, how dramatic it was in Istanbul 2005. And when I joined, then, you know, I stayed in the hotel because I knew he was only on loan. And the day Liverpool played in Istanbul, actually, I was in my hotel room on my own, and I was watching the game. So I was just wishing, you know, I would be part of the squad, I would be there. I wasn't. Then Liverpool won. I was happy for the team, obviously, but I was sad.
Oh, okay. Well, still ahead on Stadium Unplugged with Stephane Henchoz.
I don't think he realized, though, that he's played for Liverpool and what it means for a lot of people. It's difficult, you know, you played football all your life, really. I think that's what you enjoy the most. And then suddenly you're 35 and you have to stop.